Welcome to Hey Chap. Talk today about difficult decisions. So if there's a loved one in a hospital on life support and there has not been any paperwork filled out beforehand on what their wishes are, the doctor will most likely ask the family, well, do you want to disconnect life support? It may happen at one point or another. It's hard to say when. And this is, I think, the most difficult decision that needs to be made. And I have sat in with families many times in the conference rooms where they're discussing, right, what do we do? You know, do we disconnect? Do we want to keep them on life support? What are the consequences? And I mean, it has sometimes turned into hostility, into even family feuds, because it becomes so emotional and so intense. I remember one woman who looked at me and said, "Chaplain, am I killing my mother if I disconnect her from life support?" And you know, it was a very valid question, and actually this woman was the only woman that actually articulated what most everyone else must have felt. And you know, I did not have the answers, of course I did not. But there were two things I said. One was, you know, whatever decision you make, God is bigger and can work through whatever decision you make. But basically, we are not powerful enough to make a decision that goes against God's plan. The other thing I said was, make sure you make a decision that you can live with for the rest of your life. Because, you know, if you make a decision that you feel guilty about, this guilt will haunt you the rest of your life. Guilt can destroy a person's life. So I remember, I don't know exactly what their decision was, but I know that there was a discussion of what they would be able to live with. Now, this agony can be prevented altogether for these families if papers, advance directives, and do not resuscitate forms are being filled out. So let me explain this a little bit. An advance directive is sort of a medical will, as I guess you could say. Which is a form that sometimes the hospital will give you. If you come to the hospital and you say you haven't filled it out, they will urge you to fill it out. You don't have to, but they will urge you to fill something out. For good reason. Now, of course, if you come to the hospital already unconscious, it is too late, right? So these things need to be really thought about way before. But what this form does, the advance directive, is to show the medical team, the doctor, what you want to have done in case you are on this life support indefinitely, you know, sort of a vegetable on this life support. Do you want to stay there forever until all your organs give out, or do you want to be taken off? And when do you want to be taken off? There is a section usually when you can write in, okay, I want you to try for a month or 2 months or whatever it is. And the medical team will know what your wishes are. There's another form, the do not resuscitate form. It's basically what it means. Resuscitation means when someone stops breathing and the heart stops, or it means to revive. Do not resuscitate means you tell the medical team that once your heart stops and you stop breathing, you do not want them to revive. You are dead and you stay dead. This is again a very difficult decision because in most cases, if you think about it, young, healthy people or whatever would not want, most likely, a do not resuscitate form. And yet there have been instances where I know where maybe someone was struggling with cancer for years went through treatment. It was very agonizing for them, and they finally said, if I stop breathing and my heart stops, I want it to be done. And that was the case when they then filled out a do not resuscitate form. With good reason. I suggest that you meet with your family way before anybody goes to the hospital, hopefully. And maybe on a day when it rains and it's nasty outside, when maybe there's nothing on television that's really worth watching, and you just invite them all over, or if they're far away, have them calling in on the phone or whatever, and talk about it. Talk about what you or each one would have wanted to have done if there was such an eventuality. That it can be an accident, it can be a disease, it doesn't matter. Life happens. Yes, it's uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, and it's something we don't want to talk about just as little as we want to do taxes. And that's the thing. You need to make that afternoon, I don't know, have chicken soup, ice cream, I don't care, come together and make it like this the tax season and afternoon, and just deal with it, and then hopefully get it done. That's the best suggestion I have for you, because it can help you and your family. Life is a mystery, and we never know what the next day brings. But I invite you to think about how wonderfully you are made, and how intricately you are made, how you are created by love to love, how you are created by a creative God to be creative, to share your gifts for a purpose. If you like what you see, click below on the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.